5 signs that you might be dating the right one.
This is going to be so good, ladies. So, if you're dating now, or maybe you're going to get back on the dating scenes, this is going to be really, really helpful for you to understand both the masculine perspective and the feminine perspective, the healed version of it, to see if you're actually dating the one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited because these 5 points are really going to help you dissect. Because a lot of
Mm,
times, what happens is
mhm.
our ladies are like, okay, this is what's going on. He's doing this.
Yep.
No, these points are going to help you really have clarity in this area.
It's gonna be so good. So, for the people that are new here, what's up? I'm Natasha. I was a former single mama. You guys know my story. I went through a whole bunch of trauma and loss and did so much healing, so much up leveling, and attracted my amazing provider energy husband,
Yes.
Coach B, who is the biggest blessing to me and to our now kids.
Yes.
And we're living our best life. And of
Yes.
course, we're helping you ladies do the same.
And I'm Coach B, as she mentioned, as my wife mentioned, of course, former lifelong bachelor of
Mhm,
30 plus years. Really here to help coach you ladies and help you
mhm.
understand the male's perspective so you can position yourself
Yeah.
to be found by that provider energy man.
Yes. Okay. This is so good. This is our mission right now. This is our divine assignment right
Yes.
now is to help the women. And we have helped well over 1,000 women to date in the area of dating and in marriage and just their inner healing, specifically around their nervous system healing, their hormones, their feminine
Mm,
energy, which is really the trifecta for a woman to really be the best version of herself and to attract her desires, the
yes.
masculine, the dream business, the dream life that she wants, even if she's a single mom, even if she's gone through a divorce, been stuck in a situationship for too long, wants to do things differently, you are watching this for a reason. I'm telling you that right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And these 5 signs, it doesn't matter if you're, like you said,
Hmm.
30, 40, 50, 60 years
Yes.
old, single kids, no kids.
Hmm.
These signs are the signs that go
Yeah.
across the board no matter where you're at in your life because
Yeah.
this is coming from a healthy masculine energy man.
Yeah, and it's so interesting with Coach B because he was a lifelong bachelor.
Yes.
So it's always interesting for the ladies to hear,
Yes.
what's different,
Yes.
because there's obviously lots of women options out
Yes.
there, and it's like, what is different
Yes.
in this situation?
Yes.
So
Yes.
let's jump into it.
and and
Yeah.
and being that former lifelong bachelor, I'm about 3.5 years out of being a bachelor, so
Yes.
fresh enough
Yeah.
to understand
Yeah.
how the men think, but
Hmm.
also further enough way removed to
Yeah.
know what it takes to be a healthy masculine energy man.
Exactly. And things have just changed so much.
Yes.
And that's why we love sharing this with you ladies because, we know what it's like. I know what it's like to date, 2025, or no, I
Mhm.
guess not 2025. We were
Right.
dating in 2023.
Yes.
2023, 2024 is when we got engaged. So it's just a lot different
Yes.
than back in the day. Back in the day, they didn't have the social media, they didn't have
Yep.
the dating apps.
Yep.
We had the dating apps. That's
Yep.
how we met.
That's true.
So this is really important information for you ladies to
Yes.
know so you don't waste your time. Okay.
Let's go.
Let's do
Yes.
this. All right. Okay. So, one of the biggest signs. So, we're going to go through 5 signs, and I have a couple signs,
Yes.
and Coach B has a couple
Yes.
signs, just so you can just hear the difference from the masculine's perspective and the feminine's perspective
Hmm.
that you could be dating the one. All
Yes.
right. So, one of the most obvious signs that you are dating the one, he could be the one, ladies, is that things feel predictable. Things feel predictable and consistent, almost like just normal, like just
Mm.
like normal, steady. It's not
Yes.
chaotic. So that is, one of the greatest things that I noticed about my husband right away when we were dating
Mm.
is things were just so
Yes.
predictable. And, we coach a lot of women. And that feeling where it's like, I don't know if he's going to text me back.
Mm.
I don't know if he's going to follow through on this date. He said that we're going to do this next week.
Mm.
There's just like that unpredictability with him versus with your husband. If you're dating your husband, he is going to be predictable. Things are going to just feel steady,
Mm.
consistent for you. It might not be like that on the first, in the first
Yes.
week of dating.
Yes.
There might be, some adjustments that need to be made on both your parts. But for the most part, you're going to notice that, like, yeah, this guy is really predictable.
Yes. And it's so important to understand that first off, because a lot of times when things are predictable. And then
Mhm.
sometimes as women, you can get bored. Like, okay,
Yes.
this isn't exciting.
Mhm.
We're going out again. He's coming to see me again. He's calling again.
Uh-huh.
He's chasing me again. And the thing that you've been waiting for, a guy who's chasing, showing that energy towards you,
Yeah.
now that becomes boring because he's doing it so much,
Mhm.
and you're used to people kind of being toxic or people kind of, okay, being hot and cold. But a great sign is that consistency,
Mhm.
is things being normal, because what's happened in that situation is
Mhm.
he's put you into his life, he's put you into his schedule.
Mm.
Now you're a part of his daily or weekly routine. So
Mhm.
it can become boring because, okay, he's coming over. He's going to buy you stuff. It's a holiday. He's going to do something special for you.
Mhm.
That's where you don't want to get sidetracked
Mhm.
because of what you've been used to in the past. Even though it hasn't worked, this predictability is something new for you in a lot of cases, and you don't want to self sabotage it because it doesn't feel exciting.
That's so good, babe. Because yes, ladies, and just like ask yourself in all areas of your life,
Mm,
do you have a lot of chaos or
mhm.
that unpredictability?
Yeah.
Because you can get really used to that. You
Mhm.
can get really used to money coming in, money going
Yeah.
out. You don't, money feels unpredictable to you.
Mm,
Relationships feel
yeah.
unpredictable for you. And if that's kind of the patterns you've been playing in, that's obviously an invitation to heal. Because on the other side of that, you get to date amazing healthy
Yeah.
men that are going to be so consistent and
Yeah.
predictable, and your life is not going to feel chaotic.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And we'll jump to point two, but
Okay.
definitely make sure you get those questions so
Mhm.
we can answer those as well.
Yeah.
But a number two sign that you could be dating the one is he's not in performance mode. And what that
Mm.
looks like, because we see it so often when you
Mhm.
start dating someone initially,
Mhm.
they're doing everything right. They haven't made a mistake, haven't said anything wrong. It's like, okay, they're perfect.
Mhm.
But when this may be the one, you'll know it because now, as well as being predictable,
Yeah.
now he's feeling like, okay, around you, he doesn't have to, do something just to make you laugh or just to make you smile. He's
Mm.
being more natural. And it's
Mhm.
normal for people to be in, performance mode initially.
Yeah.
Everybody puts on their best foot. They put their
Yeah.
best foot forward
Yeah.
initially, and it's nothing wrong. It's not like they're
Yeah.
faking, but the more that they see, okay, this may be the one for me, now they can kind of open up
Mm.
and get out of performance mode and just bring you into their life naturally. The things that they naturally do, they can start including you. And
Mhm.
all of it isn't glitz and glamour. All
Mhm.
of it isn't, okay, we out here going out to eat every day. No, sometimes they're just relaxing. And now you're seeing the true them. So that's a great sign that he could be the one for you.
That's really good. Can you give some examples
Ah,
for the ladies?
sounds like you have some as well. But just examples of it. I know for us, when we first started
Mm.
dating, first we were dating online, we started talking on the phone, FaceTiming. Then when we actually, excuse me, when I moved up to Canada for that short time,
Mhm.
now it was more of the day to day. So it wasn't about performance for me. It was about me feeling comfortable around
Mm.
her. So now it was just the normal things that was going on. So the normal challenges
Mhm.
potentially as well, like the
Yeah.
normal stuff. I'm on the phone with her, we're in the car, and I'm on the phone doing a work call or things
Yeah.
like that.
Mm.
Those are just the things where it's not about a performance. You see the true me.
Yeah.
You see my response when people say stuff.
Yeah.
You get to see everything in real time. And that's when, okay, now it's like, okay, I feel better around her. I
Mhm.
don't have to always show her the side that I think she wants to see,
Right.
because it's not the best side. It's the side that you think she wants to see.
Mm.
It's more about, okay, this is what I'm doing throughout the
Mhm.
course of the day. Sometimes I just want to sit around and do nothing,
Yeah.
but when you're in
Yeah.
performance mode, you're always doing something.
Mhm.
You're always at attention.
Yep.
You're always making moves. But when
Mhm.
you're not in performance mode, they get to see the exact you all the time, just like it was with us when I
Mhm.
moved to Canada.
That's so good. And it's just interesting hearing it from a
Yeah.
man. But I'll say also for the woman, it's going to feel the same thing, the
Mm,
same way. So even I would say the first time we met,
mhm.
I felt like I could put my guard down.
Yeah.
And it just felt so normal. It felt so Like I didn't have to be in performance
Yes.
mode, which is huge for me because I'm a recovering perfectionist. Okay, ladies, if you can relate to that, you know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about, where you always feel like you have to be in performance
Hmm.
mode. And yeah, I remember the first time I met you, I was
Yeah.
just like literally
Yes.
too comfortable.
Yeah.
I was too comfortable.
No, it was definitely such a level of comfort because even when
Yeah.
we met and
Mhm.
we started walking around, we were in
Yeah.
Vegas at the time,
Yeah.
walking around, spending time with each other, going out to eat.
Mhm.
It was like we were, even your mother was a part of it.
Yeah.
And, for me, that's usually like when you tighten up.
Yeah.
But we had established such a tight bond to that point where it
Mm.
wasn't like I had to perform or do anything. It
Yeah.
was like we were just
Yeah.
enjoying each other's presence.
Yeah, no, that's so good. And I mean, it's exhausting to have to be in performance mode,
Yes,
right? For the
definitely.
woman or for the man. So just, ask yourself how your energy is feeling around the
Mm,
person in
yes.
general. Okay, number 3 point, key sign that you are dating the one.
Mm,
This is huge, ladies, and whoever's watching right now, is you've actually done some healing.
mm.
So you've actually been on a healing journey. If you are still dating and you haven't done any healing, there's a very, very high probability that you are just dating a different face, but the same person.
Yes.
Okay. Because everyone is always reflecting your energy.
Hmm.
And so if you don't have a really great history of the people that you've been dating and
Hmm.
relationships or even married to, and then now you're back on the dating scene and you're dating somebody, it's just a matter of time before he reflects your energy. So it might be hot and heavy and great for the first couple
Yeah.
weeks or the first month or so, but if you have not done any inner healing, one, you're not even going to have the awareness of it,
Hmm.
but you're just going to fall back in the same patterns. But if you've been doing the stuff that we've been teaching on here in inner programs and you've been healing, and it's not about being perfect. It's
Hmm.
not like you have to heal for a certain amount of time, has nothing to do with that. But you have, taken time, you've healed your love blocks, you've healed your nervous system. You have that awareness around masculine feminine energy and dynamics around that and
Hmm.
attraction and polarity. There's a very, very good probability that when you start dating again, the person that you're dating is going to be the person,
Yes.
because you have clarity. This is a huge thing. A lot of women are like, oh, I just want to date. And then so they're back on the dating scene, they're
Yes.
back on the dating apps, or they fall into another situationship, some guy that, hit on them,
Hmm.
but they haven't actually taken that time to get clarity on who they are actually calling in energetically as a husband. So
Yes.
if you haven't done that, it's just a matter of time before you fall into the same
Yeah.
patterns. Yeah.
And it's so simple to understand
Hmm.
if you've done healing. It's not like, okay, I think I've done healing.
Yeah.
Maybe I've healed. No. Doing healing is exactly what you said, going through those steps, going through the process.
Yeah.
Are you still attracted to the same type of guy? Does it
Yeah.
feel comfortable to be around them right
That's a
away?
good one.
Or is this like, okay, this is a little
Hmm.
uncomfortable? And if
Hmm.
you don't feel anything different, you probably haven't done healing. It's like
Hmm.
me asking you, have you worked out? Me asking
Yeah.
you, have you eaten? You don't have to think about it. You know
Hmm.
within yourself if you've really done a deep level of healing. And a lot of times, most of the times,
Hmm.
when you're doing that healing, it involves someone outside of you.
Hmm.
It's not just you saying, okay, I'm healed now. I'm going to, even though, trust
Hmm.
me, we believe 100% in this. It's not about I'm going to read a book. I'm just going to do
Hmm.
this. No, it's about you actually taking those
Hmm.
actionable steps where you're actually
Hmm.
being able to communicate with someone and walk through exactly the areas that maybe you've stumbled in the past in the
Hmm.
area of relationship. So
Hmm.
doing that healing is the key. Or like you said,
Yeah.
things will be great. It might be great for 3 months, 6 months, a year.
Hmm.
But at some point, that area
Hmm.
in which you stumbled in the relationship, you're going to get to that same point and you're
Hmm.
not going to have an answer for it because you haven't done healing for it. So make sure that
Hmm.
you do that healing so you can know for without a shadow of a doubt that
Hmm.
this could be the one, or else you'll waste time
Hmm.
just finding yourself like on the hamster on the wheel,
Yeah.
just doing the same thing over and over, and years will pass by.
That's so good. And yes, we will get to your questions in a second. But when we're talking about healing, there's a couple things I want you to ask yourself. Okay. Do you know your old attachment style?
Mm.
Have you healed that? That's going to be really important for your relationships. Your nervous system, have you healed that? Is it regulated? Or do you tend to overthink,
Hmm.
over obsess? Do you tend to get triggered really easily? How you self conflict, just how you're feeling
Hmm.
about yourself.
Yeah.
That is a big, big sign if you've actually done healing or not. Your confidence in yourself, your self esteem, your ability to stay detached, your ability to follow through on boundaries,
Mm.
your ability to communicate
Yes.
with the opposite
Yes.
sex. These are all signs that you've actually taken time to heal, not just, oh, yeah, I read a book, like what you
Right.
said, or yeah, now I know I don't want to date these types of guys. I want to date these types of
Yeah.
guys, but you haven't done your
That's
part.
so
It's
true.
like what I always ask my ladies, because ladies will quickly tell me all the stuff that they want in a man.
Mm.
I want him to be tall, dark, and handsome.
Mm.
I want to be attracted to
Yeah.
him. I want him to make this amount of money. I want him to do this. I just want him to be generous and faithful and integrity. We know
Yeah.
this because we coach women
Yeah.
all day, every day. That's what you want, right? But let me ask you, what type of woman does he want? Do you know?
Hmm.
Do you know how men think? Do you know what masculine provider energy men crave? Not thinking the way you've always thought, or like,
Hmm.
oh no, he just needs to like me for
Right.
me. Okay, you're probably going to stay single.
Yeah.
I love you so much when I'm saying this. And of course, you want him to love you for you. We just
Hmm.
talked about not being in performance
Yeah.
mode, so that's not what we're talking about. But if you haven't done any inner healing and any up leveling, don't be
Yeah.
upset if you don't attract a great guy.
Right. Because
Yeah.
he'll never get to know who you are
Mhm.
if you haven't done that healing. So, as
Yeah.
great of a person as you are,
Yeah.
it'll be more so
Yeah.
like, okay, why can't I attract?
Mhm.
Because you haven't done the healing in most cases.
Yeah, and before we go to the next point, let me just also say this. Oh, this is so, so important. Just this week, right now, we're coaching women that are in the engagement stage. They're about to get engaged. And these are like new women that started working with us in the Feminine Energy Academy. And I've seen this pattern consistently with women that I've coached over the last few years, where right before they get engaged, they're dating the most amazing guy, and then they get triggered about something.
Mm.
He says one thing, he
Yep.
does like one
Yep.
thing, and they're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the
Yeah.
one.
No, we'll go into that with our next point.
Oh, 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 so okay,
I don't
okay,
want to
okay.
give our point away.
Okay, you don't want to. Okay, okay. I'm gonna pull
I'll
back
let
then.
you,
Okay, go
yes,
ahead,
I'll
honey. Go
let you
ahead,
go into
honey.
it because the fourth point is right along those
Okay, you
lines.
go ahead, baby.
It's how they resolve conflict.
Okay, that's a good one.
That's so key for a man, how a woman, and
Mm,
how in within a relationship, how you resolve conflict.
yeah.
Now, if you're super triggered, like you were just speaking of, because you get to that point, because
Mhm,
what happens is it's a new area, new place that
mhm.
you probably have never been in the relationship,
Yep.
specifically if you've never been engaged.
Mhm,
Now you're at the point where you feel the engagement coming. He's got the ring. You're talking about rings.
mhm,
Now you start getting triggered. Whatever happens, now conflict is there, and now you just start, the old you starts coming up. I just got to tell him about himself. I
mhm,
just have to let him know, or I'm feeling like this, I don't want to hold it in.
mhm,
And it becomes conflict, and now it's about how do you resolve it.
mhm, mhm,
So it's so key, because for men, it's important that we have that peace within a relationship, that we feel open, that we can stay vulnerable to you in that relationship. But if you're
mhm,
triggered every time we have conflict, or every time you conjure up conflict,
mhm,
in a case like that, and you're triggered,
mhm,
and now we become closed, because it's like, I can't go down that road with her. Most healthy masculine energy men aren't going to get into arguments with you. They're not going to go back and forth with you. So what they do is they retreat. They pull back and say, okay, if this is where we're going, to protect myself,
mhm,
to protect my emotions, so I don't get in the same place, I'll just pull back. So being triggered and how you respond to conflict, um, when you respond the correct way, let me
mhm,
say that, it
mhm.
lets us know that you could be the one. If you're not responding the correct way, then the opposite effect happens.
Mm, that was so good, honey. This is probably one of the biggest things that will take you to being a wife, like him
Mhm.
actually proposing
Yeah.
and wanting to marry you versus you staying a girlfriend or
Mm.
situationship. I would say that's probably
Yes.
one of the biggest things
Yes.
is how you guys solve conflict together. And what I was gonna say too was that I've just seen it so consistently with the women that I've coached right before they get
Mm.
engaged. They get triggered about something, but thank God they have the awareness where they come to me first
Mm.
instead of blasting a
Yes.
text to him, instead of, breaking up with him,
Yes.
ghosting him. They come to me and they're like, okay, Tosh, this is what he
Yes.
said. I'm so triggered
Yes.
right now. I want to break up with him. I want to cancel our plans. And I've heard it all. What do I do? And just this week, this happened
Yes.
with a couple of our different ladies. Okay. And I was like, okay, do this and then say
Yes.
this. And then they always come back to me and they're like, I did that
Yes.
and I said that and now things are amazing
Yes.
again. And I'm like, okay, this is so good. Because ladies, now you have just shown him
Yes.
that when conflicts arise, if you get triggered, you're not going to go off the handrails.
Mm.
You're not going to blow up and be dramatic and come at him,
Mm.
disrespect him, emasculate him, cancel plans with him,
Yeah.
ghost him, push him away. You're not going to do that, because if you have that pattern
Yes.
with him where things are great and he's trying, you guys are dating, all that
Yeah.
stuff, you guys are talking about marriage plans, he's bought a ring, like all that stuff, and then something comes up
Mm.
and then you just like show a completely different side of yourself, that is enough for him to not want to go into a marriage stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, we can stay here for a while
Yeah.
because for men,
Hmm.
that's even more important than you being a 10.
Yep.
I don't care how good you look.
Hmm.
You can be what they consider, and we understand that all women within themselves can be beautiful,
Yeah.
but what they consider a 6 or 7
Yeah.
with no conflict, with understanding how to respond,
Hmm.
they'll want to marry you so quickly. But if
Hmm.
you're a 10 and just super triggered, what
Hmm.
it does is it can cause a man to, for one, not want to be with you. But if you're
Yeah.
together, if you're already married and you're
Hmm.
like, this is just who I am, it can cause him to not want to share. To
Yeah.
not want to share things that are going on. And being your best friend, okay, you just want to open up.
Yeah.
But if he's telling you, like, okay, I was at work today and
Yeah.
this lady looked at me,
Yeah.
and now you're just super triggered. He's
Yeah.
not going to say it anymore because he's
Yeah.
understanding that I don't want to trigger her. I want to protect myself, protect my
Mm.
feelings, and then it can come across as him holding back. So
Mhm.
it's a give and take in it
Mm.
where it's a lot of things that maybe he's willing to share, but your response is such as where when you respond, now he knows he has to go through the whole process of you,
Mhm.
okay, cursing him out or telling him about himself, and keeping those lines open is so key because we even have situations now where I'll tell her stuff that,
Mhm.
and she'll tell me stuff, and it's
Yeah.
just like conversation
Yeah.
because it's not something that we've necessarily done, but something that's happened in our presence,
Right.
something that's happened around. We feel comfortable enough to share it because, for one, I know she's not going to be triggered. Not that
Yeah.
it won't upset her. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
but she's not going to be triggered to the point where we have to walk out and can't continue the conversation.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Ladies, ask yourself, just look at your relationships up to this point.
Hmm.
How have you guys resolved
Yeah.
conflict? Because that is one of the greatest things that will really help you become that wife
Mm.
and really show you that you're dating the one. And that's what I've loved about
Yes.
dating you and obviously being married to you as well. But we've always resolved conflict really
Yeah.
easily,
Yeah.
right? Not to say that we haven't had stuff come up. Of course, like it's inevitable stuff is going to come up. There's going to be times where I was completely triggered
Hmm.
or he's triggered,
Hmm.
right? But we had done so much inner
Hmm.
healing ourselves
Yeah.
individually that we knew how to hold boundaries. We knew
Hmm.
how to communicate, which is like the greatest superpower you can have as the feminine,
Mm.
is understanding how to communicate with the masculine. You don't communicate with him the same way you communicate with other people.
Hmm.
Okay, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I really invite you to jump into the Feminine Energy Academy and do some of
Yes.
the trainings
Yes.
and the programs that we have in there where we teach you how to communicate the feminine way,
Mm.
so, with the masculine. So
Yeah.
you understand how to resolve conflict. So you understand how to, voice your needs to
Hmm.
him, to how you influence him without negging him.
Hmm.
Okay, that is one of the greatest superpowers you can have as a woman.
Yes.
Okay. So, last but not least, sign that you are dating the one is your life as a woman is getting better, not worse. And for the guy too, obviously. So this is for both people. But your life is getting better, not worse. So this looks like you're growing closer to God,
Hmm.
not farther away. You are becoming a better person because of him. He's not bringing out the worst in
Yes.
you, or you're not bringing out the worst in each other. He is taking things off of your
Yes.
plate. That is one of the greatest signs that he is in his masculine energy, that he's a provider man. Even if he's not balling out,
Yeah.
okay? Even if he's not balling out, or maybe he is balling out, that part doesn't matter. How is his energy with you? He is taking things off your plate. He notices when you're stressed.
Hmm.
He notices when you're
Yeah.
overwhelmed. He notices when you have a lot going on. And he, as a man, is taking things off of your plate. And this is happening in the
Yeah.
dating stage, even before you get into the marriage stage. And that was my husband 100%. It
Yes.
was like, at the beginning, we were dating long distance. He was in Chicago, I was in Canada, and he was flying back and forth every month
Hmm.
because he
Well,
had,
staying a month at a time.
yeah,
Yes.
he was staying a month at a time, going back, coming, going back and forth. But he saw firsthand
Hmm.
all the stuff I was trying to handle on my
Hmm.
own as a single mom with 4 kids. And, I didn't push it at all, but he saw. And then I remember within a few months, he was like, he made the decision
Hmm.
of like, no, I need to stay here with you. I need to help you.
Hmm.
And then, we rearranged everything.
Yes.
He rearranged his life.
Yeah.
And then, we were engaged, married, and we moved to the US. So,
And,
yeah.
and one way that looks is you're a lot more focused.
That's good.
It's not a lot. You're not doing a whole bunch. You're
Hmm.
all over the place
Hmm.
doing everything because you're able to just hone in because of course,
Hmm.
like you said, you have that assistance there. So
Yeah.
now you're just able to focus and do what's needed.
Hmm.
Because what happens a lot of times, if he's not in your life or you're not in each other's life, you're doing so much, you're being pulled in so many different directions.
Hmm.
Either sometimes you don't know how to say no, sometimes you feel like you have to do it, but
Hmm.
having that person there in your life, you're able to talk through stuff with them to see, okay, what do I really need
Yeah.
to do? What do I really need to focus in on? What do I need to put my energy? Because now you're spending time with them, you're doing stuff together, you still have your work, you have your life going on. And for me personally, before we got together,
Hmm.
I was coaching, I was working, I was in the gym maybe 6, 7 hours a day, coaching.
Hmm.
I was going to watch game, then I was working. I was on the phone working 24/7. So it was like I didn't really have things lined up in the sense of the structure that
Hmm.
came with being married, the structure that came with being with someone who's able to help me in my life, who's able to
Hmm.
help my life have more balance to
Hmm.
it because you're all over the place making stuff happen. So you'll know your life is getting better when you have more structure, when you have a family now.
Hmm.
When I was single for 30 plus years,
Yeah.
I'm just doing whatever I want to do every day. Some days it's great things that I'm doing. Somebody might call me
Yeah.
and I have 10 minutes free. Okay, I'll come hang out with you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
But now it's more structure to
Hmm.
it because I have certain things that have to get done and it's 5 other people that I have to consider.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge change.
Yes.
But also with us too, and this is what will happen, especially if you're dating a person of God, right? A person of faith, is your relationship with God's going to grow closer. So even in our dating, when we were dating for marriage, when he first came to Canada and we were
Yeah.
doing the long distance thing, he was traveling back and forth, we were praying together.
Yeah.
And that's what I really encourage
Yeah.
you to do. If you are at that stage where you think you're dating the one, praying together. And that's going to help you so much
Yeah.
just for wisdom and guidance, especially if
Yes.
you're dating long distance or you have different dynamics going on. You're trying to blend a family and,
Hmm.
you have different
Yeah.
businesses. He had his business, I had my business, and you're just doing a lot of blending stuff. You want God's wisdom in that. And the beautiful thing about this too, I remember, when we were talking,
Yeah.
I knew that he wasn't in alignment with what he was
Mm.
doing. But as a woman, I'm never going to say that, right?
Right.
I could just sense it. And so I'm just being supportive. I'm encouraging him, supporting him however I could with his business and what he was doing. But deep down, and like I just knew that he wasn't doing what he fully was in alignment with.
Mm,
I could just tell, right? And same with myself. I was doing the best I could, but I was all over the place because I was trying to be the mom and the
yeah.
dad, right? And with business and with the kids, with everything. And so he could see that.
Hmm.
And so even though
Right.
we were doing the best we could, that the interesting thing is when we came
Yes.
together and we had, we came under the covenant of God and doing things that way, we both fell into alignment with our purpose, and
Mm,
life feels easier
yes.
now.
Yeah.
It feels so much easier now because he's focused on his giftings, I'm focused on my giftings. What I'm not really great at, I'm not strong at, is like what he's really
Yes.
great at, and the areas that he doesn't really enjoy or he's not the greatest at, I'm really great at. And so we're really
Yes.
complementary. And
Yeah.
that's what it's going to feel like when you're dating when you're dating your life partner.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you really want to make sure as you're going down that road and you see
Yeah.
things, like we saw things in
Yeah.
each other, you want to pray about it and you want to
Mhm.
wait until you all are married before
Yeah.
you start merging things, before you start,
Yes. Yeah.
changing your entire identity
Mhm.
because you think you're going to get married. No, make sure you're official, then start changing things
Mhm.
a little bit at a time. You don't have to
Mhm.
jump into it because even with us, we didn't jump right in. We started
Yeah.
doing things a little bit at a time,
Yes.
and we're still doing things a little bit. We're still
Yeah.
understanding and learning certain things about each other where we can help each other in certain ways. But if you know that he may not be in his right career or she's not in doing what she fully can do,
Mhm.
pray about it, be patient, and
Mhm.
then when you all officially get married, then start doing the things to create change if change is needed.
Mhm. That is so good. Okay, let's get to some of you guys'
Yes, I'll get to
questions.
the first
And actually,
question.
maybe before,
Yes.
um, this Saturday, of course, we have another
Uh,
masterclass for you
yeah.
ladies. So the masterclasses on Saturday are deep trainings to help you master these areas that we're talking about. So on YouTube, on our podcast, we're just sharing things to help you become more aware, give
Hmm.
you the signs, helping you just kind of awaken to maybe your life and your patterns. But if you really want that deep healing, you want to heal your love blocks, you want to skill up in everything that we've teached you, or everything that we teach you and everything that we're talking about on here, you definitely want to jump in the FEA. We make it free at the
Yes.
beginning. It's free for you to try out because we are so confident in the results you're going to get. That's why we're there. And of course, you get access to us as your coaches.
Yes.
So once again, like I said, this week alone, and in my experience coaching so many women, when they're in that dating phase right before they get married, that is the time you really, really want to get feedback,
Mm,
because there's going to be things that come up and you don't know how to respond to him. And that can be a deal breaker. That can be the deal breaker where you don't hear from him again, because you didn't
so
take the
true.
time to learn how to communicate.
Yes.
You didn't take the time to get some coaching in this area of your life. Now, if you have amazing relationships and you excel in this, okay, great, that's awesome. You don't need that. But if you have the pattern of maybe not attracting the best guys, or they're great at the beginning and then they fall away, then I really invite you to get healing, energetic, spiritual healing, but then also skilling up so that you know how to date and feel confident in the dating stage and in marriage,
Yes.
right? Because it's not just about dating. We want you to have a lifelong happy marriage with your romantic best
Yes.
friend that's helping you. You're helping each other stay in alignment. You're bringing out the best in each other. He's in his provider energy. You're in your soft girl, yummy, delicious feminine energy, like how God has created it for you.
Mm,
Yeah.
so good. So let's get to this first
All right.
question. It says, how do you get through arguments, disagreements without
Mm.
getting too detached?
Mm.
Ending things is a pattern that I'm trying to avoid. How do you come back after arguments and disagreements? So glad we're
Awesome.
talking about resolving
Mhm.
conflict.
Mhm. That is such a great question, because
Hmm.
that is a very, very common pattern for people that haven't done healing,
Hmm.
that haven't done that personal development work. Because what will happen is, especially, you're an attractive person, you're going to attract people. even without our help, you're
Yeah.
probably going to attract people. But what happens is when you haven't done your healing, he likely hasn't done his healing because you usually attract your match. And then you guys are hot and heavy,
Hmm.
right? And then something comes up, he's triggered or you're triggered, you start arguing because you're naturally going to default to
Mm.
what you've been
Yeah.
taught and what you've learned, which, if you just watched your parents growing up fighting with each other, that's probably all you've learned, right? So then you're going to default to that pattern.
Hmm.
And then it's like, okay, now you're angry, you're probably saying things that you shouldn't be saying.
Yeah.
You detach when really what you're doing is like shutting down. You're becoming avoidant. You're pulling away,
Mm.
right? And then what happens? And then you guys miss each other and then you hook back up.
Right.
And that's really what a trauma bond is. And so, how you break that cycle, first of all, is you got to deal with you.
Mm.
You got to heal you. When you heal you, I promise you, life is going to feel a lot easier.
Mm. Yep.
Relationships are going to feel a lot easier. Dating and marriage is going to feel a lot easier because now I know how to manage my emotions. I'm not showing up in dating and marriage with a dysregulated nervous system where I'm feeling anxious and stressed and triggered. I've done my inner child healing so that I am not triggered by my abandonment wounds and my
Mm.
rejection wounds. You think it's like, oh, he looked at you funny,
Yeah.
but really it's because you have this undealt with inner child wound that made you feel a certain type of
Yeah.
way and he looked at you funny and then that's what's triggering you. Or he didn't call you when he was supposed to call you and now you are triggered because you still have that rejection abandonment wound. These are just examples. So the number one thing you got to do is heal. Okay, because then you're just not going to be a triggered person in
Yes.
general. When you're at work, when you're with friends, family, you're not going to be bothered anymore.
Hmm.
And it's not that you're numb. That's not what we teach. It's not that you're numb or, walls are up and avoidant. No, you're just so healed. As
Mm.
you always say, there's no triggers to pull
Yeah.
anymore.
That's so
Okay.
true.
And then the second part of that is actually learning how to communicate, which is an actual skill set. Actually learning how to talk to him,
Hmm.
which is what we teach our ladies. So what we teach our ladies in our programs is, okay, this happened, do this, and then say this to him. Okay. And that's going to open up conversation for him and you to resolve things
Hmm.
together. Now, if you're doing the stuff that we teach and he is still just like super toxic and
Hmm.
avoidant and abusive, obviously you just need to leave that situation. But even if you haven't done healing, you're not going to. You're going to keep staying in that pattern. But
Yeah.
maybe you can add to that.
No, I mean, you said you
Yeah.
pretty much went through it in that situation, so I don't have anything to add to it.
Can I ask you a question though?
Yes, of
Okay,
course.
I'm curious. Okay. Because I've only seen the one side of my husband
Mhm.
where, because he had done so much healing, where, like, my husband has never once yelled at me,
Mhm.
never once yelled at me since our first time we were dating until marriage. He has never yelled at me. He's never sworn at me. He's never disrespected me. He's never any of that stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm just curious, have you always been like that? Or
Mm.
did you have to do some inner work to get to the point where you're at now
Mm.
with resolving conflict with the feminine?
No, I mean, I've always been like that as far as
Okay.
resolving conflict. Never argued or anything like that. I think one thing that's changed is I think similar to what
Yes.
she was saying, when stuff like that happened, then I would detach. I
Right.
would just kind of like, okay, enough with you, time to move on to the next one
Right.
because I don't have time for this. So my
Okay.
response wasn't like, okay, going back and forth, but it still wasn't healthy
Right.
in a
Okay.
sense where forget a conversation, nothing to talk about. I've seen what I saw. I
Mhm.
know what I know.
Mhm.
So it's nothing you can tell me to change
Mm.
that. And that's the change that I've made where now I'm able to have those conversations and not just avoid the situation.
Okay. Interesting. Thanks for letting us know that,
Yes,
lady.
yeah. So
Honey.
we did have another one. Boosted Barbie, who's in our Feminine Energy Academy. She said, "What should a woman do if a man is asking for help, seeking God to understand courting and marriage
Mm.
God's way, since that's how he's living, since that's how I'm living? Is
Mm.
it my job to send him Bible scriptures,
Oh.
etc.?"
That's a really, really
Yes.
good question. So, what do you do if the guy that you're dating is, he's inspired by you. He's inspired you. He sees that you're growing in a relationship with God, which, by the way, ladies, is what makes you so attractive to the masculine, to a healthy masculine men,
Mm-hmm.
because now they're seeing that you're getting fulfillment and purpose in the masculine God
Mm-hmm.
versus outside
Yeah.
things. Okay. So it takes you out of that needy energy. So you become very attractive to the world. And so, what do you do then if you're dating a guy and he's like, well, how do I grow in this? Because you don't want to go into coaching mode, ladies, with him. So the best thing for men is they need to learn from other men. And maybe
Mm.
you can talk about this,
Yeah.
but I would encourage him to, I don't know if it's you guys can go to church together, or you can encourage him to, join a man's group. But
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
you can give some
Well, what I would say
suggestions.
is in that situation, you have to stay away from it as far as trying to get him to get
Hmm.
on your level, get him to understand scripture the way that you do. And coming into it, if that's not something that he is already pursuing,
Hmm.
if that's not something that he has an understanding with or to that level, then you just have to stay detached. You can't worry about, okay, is this person this is the person for me, so let me get him right
Hmm.
because I want to, make sure that he
Hmm.
understands so we can be together. No, I would say don't even, unless he's already going to his own church, doing his own thing, don't even invite him out to your church because you're trying to get him involved with God. He
Hmm.
has to have his own relationship with God already. And if he has a relationship, okay, maybe you can go to church together. But if you have to send him scriptures and all of this just to get him
Yeah.
on your level, then you'll always be
Hmm.
getting him to your level. You'll always have to put him in position because he doesn't know this. Let me help him there. No, I would say maybe at this time he's not the one to date if he's not at a certain level in his spirituality. If he doesn't have a certain relationship with God now, and
Yeah.
you sending him scriptures,
Yeah.
it sounds great, but if that's not something that he's already into,
Hmm.
then you won't get him there because the relationship part of it, it's one thing to say, okay, he's going to church with you. Because what can happen, you'll send him that, he'll start going to church with you,
Hmm.
but he hasn't made any internal change because he's doing this as an act.
Mm.
He's putting on a show. This is what she wants
Mm.
because you're telling him what you want. I want a man of God.
Mm.
So, only thing I have to do is go to church with you or send you a Bible scripture as well. We can send Bible scriptures
That's
back and
so
forth
true.
every day, but I'm not changed on the inside.
Mm.
So, I would encourage you to not force it. If that's not something he's into, leave it alone. If he asks you questions, about, okay, what about this scripture? Okay, cool. But don't become his Bible study teacher. Leave it to
Yeah.
God and continue to stay detached from him because the right man will be ready in those areas. You won't have to pull the weight.
That was such a good point. That was
Yeah.
such a good point, honey. Yes, ladies. And even if a man is like, oh, yeah, I'm a man of God, this is important to me, blah, 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 look at the fruit in his life.
Hmm.
You can always tell a tree by its
Yeah.
fruit. Doesn't matter what he's saying,
He'll
right?
tell
And
you everything.
he'll tell you everything,
Yes.
right? Right? But just look at the fruit in his life. And for us, I mean, we inspire each other.
Yeah.
We would talk about scripture and stuff, but he had a solid
Yeah.
foundation before I came into the picture, and I had a solid foundation before I came into the picture. So it was just so
Yes.
natural, you know? Yeah.
Yes, that's so important. So I don't want our ladies to
Yeah.
get sidetracked
Yeah.
because we a lot of times we think we're just a missing ingredient, but no, God's really doing His thing on the inside of all of us.
And also, ladies, because I know we attract so many good-hearted women that want to take care of people, and you want to inspire people. And the tendency can be, okay, let me help him in this area. Let me fix him in this
Yeah.
area. And it's that's you going back into fixing mode.
Yes.
So even if it's his relationship with God,
Yeah.
the best thing you can always do is pray for them.
Yes.
You don't need to tell him that you're praying for them,
Nope.
but pray for him. Pray for him. Pray for him. And then God knows what he needs. God
Hmm.
loves him more than you love
Yeah.
him. Okay. So release him, surrender him, and allow God to deal with him, because God will deal with him in a way more effective
Hmm.
way than what we can do and what
Yeah.
we think we can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. But great question, Boosted Barbie. So said, what key energetic shift is most important factor would you say you made really called in the men looking for marriage?
Mm.
So what's the energetic shift when you're calling in the man for marriage?
Yeah. So I teach something called scripting, and I teach something where this is like my first step in my dating program, where I really get clear on the exact type of husband
Mhm.
and father of your children. And that's the key shift right there, is really understanding exactly who you're calling in as a husband and the father to your kids, your non-negotiables, your nice to haves, the lifestyle you want, his character,
Mm,
just all of those things. You have so much clarity around it. And then the next part of that is identifying your love blocks. So you can understand, okay, because this is what will sometimes happen. You're like, okay, I want a man like this, and this. Okay. And then it's like, but I live in this city. But,
mm,
I'm busy with work and school right now. But I'm a single mom. But I'm divorced. But, this. But I'm this color. But, it's like all these
yeah.
like things come up. And that's what keeps women in duplicity energy. Or they're like, but I don't want to go on the dating apps. I'm not attracted to these types of guys. I'm attracted to this type of guy.
Mm,
That's what stops women. So when we can heal all of that, and so you are so energetically aligned
mm,
to who you are calling in, and you are so detached. This is the key here. You are so detached from who it is. You've surrendered it to God. You totally detach, even in the dating stage. You've completely detached of who it
mm,
is, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, what it's going to look like. But then you're also showing up and doing, taking that messy action that we teach. That's the huge shift that that will be the game changer. And it's one of those things, is when you sow these seeds, you're going to get the same plants. Like you sow the seeds that we teach. It's inevitable. It's inevitable that you're going to attract your husband.
mm.
Yeah.
That's so good. I want to get to the next one. I know we have
Yeah.
so many good questions. Next one is a comment.
Okay.
Says, I've always seen couples win when they choose to submit to God and
Mhm.
submit to each other.
That's it.
Yes.
That's the key. And the thing is, you're not going to be able to submit to God or to each other
Hmm.
until you've healed,
Hmm.
because you're going to be in that survival mode. This is why Christ calls us the bride, because that's the ultimate surrendering position with God, right? He is the head. He's our provider. He's our protector. And so when we can heal and fully surrender, it's not about going to church and going to your Bible studies. Those are great, but if you haven't healed
Hmm.
and surrendered at a nervous system spiritual level, you're still going to be fighting. You're still going to be in hustle mode. You're still going to think that you need to chase after
Hmm.
guys and after money and after things. You're just going to naturally be in that state versus, just that true surrender to the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Brian, what difference did you feel and see in Mia the second time you came around after 8 months?
Mm,
So great question. So even before I came
yeah.
around the second time, because when I reached back out, of course, just kind of to give a little backstory on it, we started talking initially for a couple of months. We were talking long distance. Then, things weren't moving forward. I wasn't making the trip. It was just a lot of conversation on the phone
Hmm.
after we initially met the first time. It was a lot of conversation on the phone. And for Tosh, it was more like, okay, this isn't going anywhere. I see you have a busy life. You have a lot going on.
Hmm.
Enjoy yourself. I don't want to hold you up. That was what she told me. So we stopped talking for 6 or 8 months. And, during that time, I did some things to kind of position myself mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, in every area to make sure that if I came back, or whoever it wasn't necessarily to come back, but it was like, okay, I need to do things differently because I was previously engaged.
Hmm.
That ended. So I knew it was a certain blockage at a certain area
Hmm.
that I need to make a shift in. So when I came back and reached out to her, I had already done some work to prepare. So when we talked, and then we started having conversation. I saw she was at a place where she was potentially ready as well. So we talked about next steps. So we talked for maybe, I don't total for a couple of months before I officially moved. But
Yeah.
during our conversation, I saw that I was in a better place. I saw that we were more intentional in
Mm.
our conversation. It wasn't just talking about what your favorite color is, or, I really love
Yeah.
talking to you. No, it was about talking about next steps
Hmm.
potentially. So I knew that it wasn't going to be the same conversation, that I had to come and talk about, what I was willing and ready to do. So it was more about me making those adjustments. And when we had the conversation, I saw that she was in a place where she was ready to move forward as well. And that's when I stepped up. So the conversation, as it shifted on my end, then I was able to see, okay, now I see that she's ready. So I don't, even before, because my mind was at a different place, I was at a different place in my life.
Mhm.
I wasn't able to see where she was because
Mm.
she might have been ready at that time if I would have asked,
Mhm.
but I wasn't ready. So the conversation showed she was more open to helping make things work out in the sense of us living in different countries. Like more open to how we can make things work instead of just like, okay, if you don't come this week, then it's not going to work.
Mhm.
No, we talked about it. Okay, we planned the future. I got the flight, she had all the receipts. So it was more knowing that everything was prepared that allowed us to move forward in the relationship.
That's a good question.
Yes.
Did you notice anything different about me?
Like I said, it
Yeah.
was difficult.
I've never asked you that.
It was
So.
difficult because it was more for me, it was more about me
Right.
and me
Yeah.
getting to a place because I had been a bachelor for my entire life.
Yeah.
So the way I was seeing things was always like, okay, relationships end. Relationships end. So
That's so
it
good.
was more about me making that adjustment.
Mm.
And now I can see that she was
Mm.
open, but at first my mind wasn't there to the place where even if I would have brought it up, I
Mhm.
would have seen like, okay, she's different. Okay, she's ready because I wasn't at a place where I was ready.
Okay, I have to point this out, honey, because what you said was really powerful. For all my people, men and women that are listening right now, do you have that story playing
Hmm.
where relationships end?
Yeah.
That's the first time you've ever said that
Yeah.
to me. So that was really good that you said that. Where it's like I've been a bachelor my whole life, so it was always like relationships
Yeah.
end. That's a subconscious story
Mm.
that a lot of people have, even if you're dating.
Yeah.
Even if you're dating the one, even if you're dating amazing people, for men and women,
Mm.
where it's like at the back of your mind, it's like, no, but relationships end.
Mm.
So if that is a pattern that you have or that resonates, what he's saying is resonating with you, once again, God only reveals to heal.
Yeah.
So that's the love block right there. That was the one thing he had to
Mm.
shift,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah,
everything
definitely.
changed. Where it's like, no, relationships don't have to end. It can end in marriage.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, Figgy said, I definitely have that relationships in my consciousness.
Yeah, that was so good, honey.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I didn't, and it's true though. It's true. And most people can
Yeah.
identify with that, specifically if you've never been married,
Hmm.
if you've just been in long-term relationships, you don't
Yeah.
even give yourself that option of being in a healthy relationship that's ongoing and that doesn't end.
And it's so interesting because the story I had in my head was I knew I was going to get married.
Mm.
And I think it's probably because I was married
Yeah.
before. And so I knew deep down it was just a matter of me deciding, okay, I'm
Mm.
ready to get married. And I knew, I didn't know who it was going to be. I did
Mm.
not know it was going to be him. But I knew that I was going to attract my
Yeah.
husband as soon as I really, truly, wholeheartedly decided I'm getting married
Yeah.
now. And I think he sensed that too, which
Yeah.
is why he didn't let me date anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, those things you
Yeah.
sense, you can
Yeah.
tell,
Yeah.
like, okay, she's already prepared. She has, her life is set up differently and
Yeah.
she's ready to move forward to the next
Yeah.
step in her life. So for
Mhm.
me, it was like, okay, because I knew that I could be in relationships.
Yeah.
I knew, like, okay, if
Yeah.
this ends, I'll get another one. This ends. But
Yes.
shifting and saying, okay, now I'm ready to shift into being with one person forever. And once
Mm.
that shift happened, then it was easy.
And you had to do it internally
Yes.
first before you came back
Yes,
and
definitely.
talking to me.
Definitely.
Oh, so
So
good.
let's get to a couple of other questions. We have Vanessa says, nothing is more beautiful than to see a couple rooted in the word of God and
Mhm.
walking in power and dominion in Christ Jesus,
Yes.
and not even mention a beautiful couple may you.
Oh, thank you. We received that.
Yes.
Yeah, this is our assignment. This is our
Mm,
divine assignment where I mean, this is your guys' birthright as well. You get to have access to this. If this is resonating with you, it's resonating with your spirit for a reason because
mhm.
it's meant for you. So I really invite you to lean into that because it's right there. Creation is already done. There's
Yeah.
nothing new under the sun. That version of you that's married, that's happily married, that's living your best life, married to your amazing
Yes.
romantic best friend, no matter what you've been through, that is available to you. But you just have to be open to receive it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Figgy, again, I'll come back to Figgy. She says this may be a bit off topic, but what are some ideal testing a woman should get if she thinks she might be in premenopause
Oh,
or
definitely
or
off topic.
overall testing for good health and doctors don't test unless requested.
Okay. So what I'll do, because you're in the Feminine Energy Academy, I will post it in there for you just so that this video can stay on topic. But that's a great question. And also for the people that are watching on here, every Wednesday, I'm now doing a Wellness Wednesday. So,
Mm,
ladies, if you're curious, you want to learn more about your hormones, your weight loss, perimenopause, menopause, just longevity and health, I really encourage you to join our Wellness Wednesdays and where we can really go deep into those questions. And then for my Ladies in the Feminine Energy Academy, I'm adding so much more new training and programs in there for you around the perimenopause, menopause, because it does directly affect your dating life
yeah.
as a woman. Like you can't separate the two. So, yeah.
So Chrissy, who's in our Feminine Energy Academy, earlier to the points that we were making, our 5 points
Yes.
under topic said the one can feel boring because it's so consistent,
Mm-hmm.
but your body will love feeling safe
Mm-hmm.
from a calm nervous system.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly it, ladies, is how do you feel in your nervous system
Hmm.
around the masculine? Around just if you're not dating, just ask yourself in general, how does your nervous system feel around the masculine, around men? And that's going to tell you a lot about where you are at as a woman. Now, when you're dating and you're dating,
Mm.
could be dating the one, how's your nervous system
Yeah.
feeling? And if you are not used to consistency in a man, if you are not used to stability and predictability in a man, you're used to those highs and lows, that can become really, really addicting. And so I see this so many times with women I've coached where they're in situationships because you're addicted to that, the dopamine
Mm.
hits and the trauma bonds. And when they come out of that, they go through a drug withdrawal,
Mm.
like literally a drug withdrawal, where they're like, I have no motivation. I feel depressed. I
Mm.
feel low. And then these other guys feel boring. I'm
Yeah.
not attracted to them. And it's because you are so used to dating men that just give you that hit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it is your nervous system is something that you can control and even
Yeah.
change because me growing up in Chicago, growing up on the West Side,
Mm,
we talk about it so
yeah.
often that sometimes my nervous system just automatically. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I first moved out to Vegas before we met,
Yeah.
and I was just walking down the street, and out here, people make U turns all the time.
Yeah.
So just people making U turns did something to my nervous system where it was
Mm,
like, okay, what are they trying to do?
yeah.
So I'm moving out the way, I'm preparing myself.
Yeah.
But it was my nervous system. It was
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong what they were doing.
Yep.
But I was used to that being something where,
Yeah.
somebody's riding up on you. Maybe it's a drive by or
Yeah.
something like that. So
Yeah.
me adjusting my nervous system and seeing something different
Yeah.
and allowing that to be okay.
Yeah.
Allowing a U-turn in front of me to be okay and
Yeah.
not get jumpy or not, get
Mm,
on guard and say, okay, what's going on? It happens similarly in
mm-hmm.
relationships
Mm-hmm.
when a guy wants to commit to you or a guy starts calling you a lot. And now your nervous system is saying, okay, is he love bombing me? What is he doing? Does he really like me? Or is he
Mm-hmm.
just messing around? Because you're not used to men pursuing you in that way.
Yeah.
So it's really disconnecting from that old way of feeling
Mm-hmm.
because it's not necessarily the truth just because you feel that way and identifying that and being okay with it.
That's so good, babe.
Yes. So I know we have this Saturday. You want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the masterclass that we have coming up
Yeah,
this Saturday?
yeah. Ladies, you can jump in the Feminine Energy Academy. Coach B is doing a masterclass with the ladies this weekend. It's called the Masculine's Perspective. So that's where he's really teaching you, ladies, about the masculine brain, how men think in dating and in marriage, how to communicate with them, what they're really thinking. Also, it's your opportunity to get feedback from him
Yes.
on your personal situation that you're going through right now in dating or in marriage. We coach women that are married as well. And then I'll be coaching our business ladies this weekend as well in the Feminine Energy Academy. I have a group of business women called the Cash Flow
Mm.
Queens, where they are learning how to master their business, get paid to exist, run everything on autopilot, the feminine energy way. So yeah, you can jump in for free. You can try it out. When you're in there, make sure you private message me. Tell me exactly. I want to know your story. I want to know what you're going through. I want to know what you're calling
Yeah.
in, what you're needing help with specifically, because we have so many programs in there. Like Figgy, she's in the FEA. She was asking about perimenopause because I'm a hormone coach as well. So I do a lot of hormone coaching with the women in the Feminine Energy Academy. If you're struggling with the menopause and the perimenopause stuff, weight issues, but then also, we do the nervous system healing, healing love blocks, healing attachment styles, and really helping you skill up in the area of polarity with the
Mm.
masculine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So,
definitely jump in. And we also have that Ask a Man section where I actually
yeah.
jump on live
Yeah.
in the community
Hmm.
and answer and help coach ladies through situations,
Yeah.
answer questions.
Hmm.
And we do that weekly as well. So,
Yeah.
so much value and so many opportunities to get.
See you on Saturday.
Yes, see you soon.
See you on Saturday.
Yes, see you soon.